Welcome back to another episode of Rugby with Pads. I'm your host Sam, and it's really super close to the season. We are so nearly there. So just hold on with me just a little bit. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not necessarily going to talk all about the fantasy world. We're going to mix a little bit of real world NFL because I'm excited about it. As you can see, I'm wearing my new vintage Marshall Falk jersey. If you're on YouTube, come and check us out. Surrounded by all my jerseys, all my favourite players. But yeah, today we are going to be checking out my predictions for the season. And there are going to be some fancy predictions, some real life predictions. And I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to go up against the almighty, the powerful, the omniscient ChatGPT 5. Just been launched. And I just thought, I'm going to ask it the same question I asked myself. What are your hot takes for the season? Now, if you've come here from the shorts or the TikTok, you might be guessing which one's which, because I'm going to be releasing two sets of YouTube or shorts, whatever they're going to be, short form content, where I'm going to be running through these, just the clips, the actual takes themselves, one being my hot take and one being the AI hot take. Today we're going to compare them, see if we're aligned. Generally talk about I've gone through all 252 games, by the way, and taking a look at win total estimates versus Vegas. Hopefully this all melds into fantasy stuff and stuff you're looking for. You're kind of dying for fantasy content, dying for football content at the moment, and hopefully I can give it to you. It's going to be a long episode, I think. I might split this up into two. We'll see how it goes. But you know what? Let's start off with my favourite team, the Los Angeles Rams. Yes, this is obviously St. Louis Rams jersey. I've been a fan for 20 plus years now, but let's talk about someone a bit new. I want to talk about my fancy hot take. Davante Adams will outperform Puka in half PPR and standard formats. Hot take? Maybe not. I think he will just have so much more upside. I still think Puka will be the reception leader. I think it runs through Puka, but Davante Adams provides something different. He just gets open. He's got separation, and that's why I think he's going to be a massive red zone threat. I'm really looking forward to watching him play this year. I've followed him for a long time. I've never actually owned him on a fantasy squad. I really want to this year. I think this is a prime opportunity to, because world's just a line, and his opportunity is there. That's my hot take. I asked AI the same question. I got this one. Davante Adams will thrive in McVay's system and revive the Rams passing game. Well, yeah, we're aligned. But revive? That's a hard question. I don't think it was too bad last year. It wasn't great, but we were definitely more a run team. But I think it's going to be an interesting year for the Rams. I think we're going to have a good run. And that's why when I looked at my kind of win totals, I've got us coming out with 11 wins and being on top of the NFC West. I believe I'm on top of the NFC West. I don't think I've got anyone else coming out above us. And hopefully having a playoff run. We're all in this season. You look at the other players we've got. Poona Ford. Actual investment in the cornerback room as well. More investment in the O-line. We've got contingency everywhere. I love it. It's a home of it pick, but I believe in McVay. And so much so that I'm actually quite far above the Vegas line. The Vegas line is 9.5. If you're unfamiliar with over-unders, they do it at 0.5 so they can kind of hedge a little bit. But the over-under being set at 9.5, I'm over by a decent amount. I believe in McVay, and long may the Rams succeed. Oh, let's stay in the West. NFC West, and my fancy hot take for the Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr. will be a top 10 wide receiver in the second half of the season. Now, I might have tempered that take a little bit, but I think it will take time to adjust, and I think we'll end up starting heavy on the run game. There might be some difficult games. I looked at the schedule, and it's actually pretty difficult early on. I think people are going to be put off by Marvin Harrison Jr. not quite coming into it. They need some real game time together to merge, to meld their minds. All the top wide receivers that you see have time with their quarterbacks. I don't think they've really had enough time or enough volume to be able to go and do that, but I do think it's somewhere there. And you know what? AI is semi-aligned. ChatGPT, Marvin Harrison Jr. will break into the top 10 wide receivers after syncing with Kyler Murray. We are perfectly in sync. And I'm almost in sync with Vegas as well. I've got them down for 9 wins. I've got them having a really hot start early on, but kind of slipping up. I think I've got them going 6-game winning streak early on. But the narrative and what's been said about Kyler Murray, about him failing at the latter, not having the stamina to go through it all, I think they will falter. And I think there are some general, but I think there's still improvements over last year. They did well last year. I think they will be better. And I think the Marvin Harrison Jr. connection and Kyler Murray will be fantastic. And I've said that all along. I've put them both as my guys in various picks in the preseason. I think it will stand true. By the way, what I want to do is at the end of the season, I want to go and look back at this kind of stuff. So please remind me towards the end of the season or in the off season next year to go back and look at, did I actually kind of tell the truth? And hopefully some of these will give you insight if you're drafting this weekend as well, or you've drafted last weekend. I don't know when this is going to come out. Probably the Monday after draft week. But either way, this is my season predictions. This does, by the way, caveat, comes after the Micah Parsons trade. I thought it was going to happen. It came out yesterday from time of recording, not time of publishing. So, bear that in mind with these takes. My fancy hot take for the Seahawks is Zach Charbonnet will outperform K9, Kevin Walker, by the end of the season. I just see it happening. I think Zach Charbonnet has just more about him. I've talked about him plenty of times over the season already. I've said I'm off Ken Walker. I think he's great. He's got such a great burst, and in small doses he's so fantastic, but he cannot maintain a full season workload, and they are going to run the ball an awful lot, especially with Sam Darnold under center. AI, however, has a slightly different take. Kenneth Walker will have a breakout season in Clint Kubiak's offense. I'll say that again. Sorry, Ken Walker will have a breakout season in Seattle. I've got the complete opposite take here. And unfortunately, I just don't think the Seahawks are going to be good enough. I think they're going to look for alternatives. Ken Walker has not had a full season. He's not been better than a running back, a low running back 2, early running back 3, I think, depending on what your format you are. But Sam Darnold may surprise. Vegas has him at 8.5. I've got them at 6. He might surprise, but I think he was buoyed by the power of KOC, and we'll talk about that when we get on to the Vikings later. And the lack of firepower in Seattle will ultimately lead to a bit of disappointment. I think they will be at the bottom of the NFC West. A team who won't be at the bottom, and I think has so much buzz around them, but not in the way you think. A lot of buzz around them is around their schedule. I think that will come later on. But the 49ers. But I want to talk about a fantasy take first. And in points per game, CMC will be the number 1 running back this year. That is my take. I think you could take him 101 and be happy with him. But in points per game, I don't think he'll play every game. That's the kicker. I think he will be fantastic, and I think he will just be amazing. He's got the pedigree. He's done running back 1, running back 2, running back 3 in the past. He's got the pedigree. And if you look at the rest of the cast of top tier running backs, he just feels like he's got a better situation, especially with so many players out at the moment. And to be fair, AI's take on this goes towards the players being out. And bearing in mind, this is AI, it doesn't have the quiet information. And this is my first flag. I was like, you're just aggregating rubbish. But either way, AI's take: wide receiver Ricky Pearsall will emerge as the top target with Debo and Ayuk out. Obviously, Debo's out because he's been traded away. Ayuk is out because he's injured. Yeah. But regardless, I do think the sentiment is there. I think Kittle will be the top receiver, not top wide receiver. But Ricky Pearsall will be fantastic, I think. I do think he will get his targets eaten into when Ayuk comes back. I think he's back after 8 games or 6 games maybe. And that actually led, when I was doing my pick by pick, I went through all the games and simulated what I thought was going to happen. I've got them winning 10. I've got a slower start despite them having an easy schedule because they haven't got the weapons available to them. I don't think Brock Purdy is him. He is a good, very good quarterback. I don't think he is him. Kittle will help them win games. But Shanahan is Shanahan. And even with injured players coming back in the lineup, I think it'll be a strong second half of the season. But he's Shanahan. He's going to get into the playoffs and probably potentially even to a championship game. Okay, that's NFC West. And the NFC West, I've got finishing Rams on top. That is a homer pick, yes, but I try to be critical. 11-6. San Francisco's 10-7. Cardinals 9-8, and just missing out on a slot. I haven't actually got San Francisco in my top 7 even into the playoffs. So I think LA Rams will come out of there looking golden, but I think the Seattle Seahawks will just take a step back. Unfortunately, it's a tough league, and the NFC more so than the AFC. I think you have the haves and have-nots inside division. Maybe the AFC has weaker divisions as a whole, but it'll play out when you look at the playoff picture later on. Right, let's move to the NFC East. Spent 10 minutes on the West, so this is going to be a long episode. The Cowboys. Let's rattle through some of these. Dak will be a top 3 player in a number of attempts. Dak will be a top 3 quarterback in a number of attempts, and I think that's because the defense is going to take a step back. He's going to have to sling it. They don't have a running game, really. Jaden Blue is a third down back. He's going to be a target, and they don't have a running game. They don't really have an O-line. He's going to be pressured. He's going to have to throw it an awful lot, and he's going to throw it an awful lot to CeeDee Lamb, who will pick out a lot of targets. AI's view on this one: wide receiver George Pickens will out-target CeeDee Lamb in multiple games. Now, the multiple games thing is a bit of a weak one, so I'm not opposed to this, but CeeDee Lamb is a target hog, and what does multiple mean? I know it's not a hot take. That's just like, statistically, it's likely he might be better in a couple of games. Anyway, I think with Micah Parsons out, 2 new coordinators, I see a lackluster O-line. It's a lost year for Jerry. I think some people are saying this is a great thing. They've got Kenny, what's his name? The run stopper. Yes, that's great. You haven't got anything else. You should have got assets this year for Micah Parsons. You have not. It is a lost season. 4 wins. Vegas has got them at 7.5. That's probably before the Micah news. But either way, I don't think it's going to be a good year for them. The Eagles. My take, A.J. Brown will lead targets, but Devontae Smith, will have more TDs. Just think it's true. I think people will... Jalen Hurts loves targeting A.J. Brown, but he will be defended. There are so many lockdown corners, which means the second corner is often a little bit worse. And I think Smith will take advantage of that. He is sneaky good. He's so good. I think he could actually emerge as a proper 1B rather than as a 2. On the AI has a view on the defensive side. And I think it's a pretty good take, actually. Rookie Jahad Campbell will become a defensive star in a retooled unit. I wouldn't say it's necessarily retooled. I think they've got rid of some old guys, but yeah, why not? I think the Eagles probably, on paper, have the strongest team in the entire NFC, maybe in the entire NFL. And I wouldn't be surprised if they can repeat again this year. I think it is a bit of an all or nothing year. I haven't talked about Saquon. He's great. Will he have as great a season last year? Probably not, but he'll have a very good season. 13 wins for them. Vegas says 11.5. I am banging the over. Commandos. Let's go with that. Commandos. My take, Debo will lead the team in touches per game. Touches, full stop. AI's take is similarly on that trend, but a bit weaker, and I'm going to discount it a little bit. Debo Samuel will get snaps at running back in a creative new offense. He's going to get snaps at running back like loads of people do. Like it's just the modern NFL. Trick plays, all of that kind of stuff. AI lowballed it, but it supports my view anyway, and I do think Debo will be a weapon. Obviously, it's great that Terry McLaurin got paid. He will be a star. Debo is going to be good as well, and I believe in the hype out of camp. Maybe it's hype season, guys. But I believe in Jaden, and that's why I've got their win total at 11 against a 9.5 over under here. He's got the clutch gene, and I think it is a real thing. I think it's been proven by Mahomes that it's a real thing. I think Jaden Daniels has it as well in spades, I would say. The Giants. Maybe this is not too controversial, but I think Russ will play more than 11 games and will make Malik Neighbors a top 5 player in points per game. Top 5 player. Full stop. I think he'll be great. He'll be force-fed. However, I don't think they'll be a great team. I do think they've got a more balanced team. I just think it's lacking pieces and lacking refinement as well. AI is suckers with the other side of the ball, and I think they're probably right as well. The Giants will lead the NFL in sacks with their revamped pass rush. I would agree that in a vacuum, they probably got one of the better lineups, but their opposition is so hard, so hard, which is why I've only got them winning 6 games, which is over. They're 5.5 at the moment, but it's such a hard schedule. And I'd be surprised if they will surprise everyone by not being the worst in their division. I would love to see Jackson Dart early and get him seeded there, but I think Russ is still good and he airmails it. And I think we'll see those huge long bombs to a very fast and very effective Malik Neighbours, someone who the Chargers probably regret not picking up. Anyway, that's the NFC North, NFC West, sorry. NFC East, third time lucky, guys. I've got in order the division winners being the Eagles at 13-4, the Commandos coming in at 11-6 and being the number 7 seed. I've got the New York Giants at 6 wins, 6-11, and the Cowboys at 4-13. The Eagles will win the numbers 1 seed, I believe, and we'll go through as division winners and conference winners in a closely fought contest with what I believe is going to be the most devilishly difficult division in football. Maybe a 1A, 1B, we'll get to that in a second. But the NFC North is tough. And we'll start with the Bears. The relatively new kid in the block, I guess so. I think Colston Loveland will lead all rookie receivers in touchdowns. All rookie receivers, not tight ends, rookie receivers. He's just got that threat. I think he's going to be just a key weapon that's going to get tooled up. They went after him for a reason. He is a seam threat. He's so good, and I think he's just going to unlock Caleb Williams to get into that 30, 40 touchdown region. Do I think he can do it? Maybe. I think he'll be fantastic regardless. But rookie receivers, maybe I caveated this a little bit. I would probably say he could be the tight end touchdown winner if Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce and Kittle weren't a thing. And yeah, AI believes me. Rookie tight end Colston Loveland will be a key weapon for Caleb Williams from week 1, not week 7, week 1. We're aligned, and I think the Ben Johnson boost will be very real and strong in the NFC North. 10 wins against an over/under of 8.5. They're a team you can get behind, especially on GameScript. Lions, I think, is a different thing, and I took a different approach. I wanted to go for an opinion that was a bit not out there, but I wanted to look at a forgotten guy, and one of the forgotten guys that I love is Sam Laporta, and I believe Sam Laporta will return to being a top 5 tight end. Come on, the Sams. AI went for a lowball pick, I think. Jahmyr Gibbs will finish as a top scoring fantasy running back. Do I believe him? No, I don't, because it's going to be CMC. But Sam Laporta returning as a top 5 tight end, he's got it all. I think his only threat really is how they use Isaac Teslar, but he is a red zone monster, and I think they'll be end up throwing more in the in that area. The reason I looked at it as well, Dan Campbell, I think he's an ex-tight end as well. He was a tight end coach in Miami, I believe, as well. Maybe a linebackers coach. I don't know. Either way, I think it'd be great. They've got an overall very strong team. Goff can struggle against really tough defenses. A tough defense like Brian Flores and the Vikings, which is going to leave them at 12 wins, but still above a 10.5 win recommendation from Vegas. I think they're going to do very well. But a team who's probably going to do better is the Packers. And yes, I boosted them with the Micah Parsons trade. My hot take, though, is not about Micah Parsons. It's about their running back. Josh Jacobs won't regress and will instead have 15 plus total touchdowns. I think he's good. He's undervalued. People are taking him late in the second. Take him in the first. He could be your guy. I think he's safe. He's a safe floor. And I think they've just got a good... The reason we were all up and down on when he was at the Raiders, because it was the Raiders, not because it was him. I think he will be fantastic. And AI thinks so as well, but for a different... AI thinks the team will be great, but for a different reason. They think Jordan Love will be an MVP... Jordan Love will be an MVP finalist with a deep wide receiver core and strong defense. Yes, they've got a deep wide receiver core. I don't think they've got a guy, but I think it'll be the run game that's important. But it doesn't preclude him from the MVP because sometimes wins are a quarterback stat. Micah Parsons puts those games that were on a knife edge back into the Green Bay win pile, in my opinion. Complementary football will be the name of the game. 13 wins, second in the entire NFC. 10.5 was the against in Vegas. win total in Vegas, and I think they are. Oh, it's 9.5. I think they're going to smash that. 13 wins, easy, bang the over. And it just shows I love this division. I think that they're all so good, and the one that I had to convince myself to buy into, but when I looked at their lineups, etc., I kind of, and their schedule, I just believed, and it's the Vikings. I believe in the Vikings. I believe in Kevin O'Connell. My hot take is that they will switch up their run game. Jordan Mason will outsnap Aaron Jones over the entire season, and AI agrees with me. Jordan Mason will lead the team in rushing, overtaking Aaron Jones Sr. We're in lockstep. But that's not why I like the Vikings. I like the Vikings because I love Kevin O'Connell. He will create some crazy offensive. He will adapt. He'll do all this kind of stuff. A lot rides on JJ McCarthy and Justin Jefferson as well. But if he can do it with Darnold, I believe in McCarthy more than I believe in Darnold. 13 wins. Their win total is 8.5. Yes, he's a rookie, but he's got talent. And the reason Kevin O'Connell sought him out was because he is going to be good. The Vikings, I think, have a great win total here, but I don't think it wins their division. So I've got Green Bay coming 13-4, coming number 2 in the conference, but securing the bag. I have 3 playoff teams, and this doesn't happen, so I know this is wrong, but I've also got the Vikings at 13-4 and getting the wrong end of the rub there. The Lions at 12-5 and the Bears at 10-7, but missing out on the playoffs, obviously. Because there's some very strong competition here, and you cannot fit them all in. I've got 2 10-7 teams missing out in the Bears and the 49ers. Will that happen? Probably not, but this is my fantasy show. I can make my own fantasies. It all sounds weird. Anyway, it's my prediction. I'm going to keep it. And lastly, the weakest division in the NFC, but by no means a pushover. I think we are going to get a very lopsided division, though. The Buccaneers. The Bucs will support 3 top 20 wide receivers on points per game, largely by playing a huge amount of 11 personnel. Now, 11 personnel, for those of you who don't know, lots of wide receivers. Less tight ends, less blocking, faster ball. They have 3 great guys. Mike Evans, perpetual 1,000-yard guy. Got Chris Godwin, misses 5 games, but when he was back, and I talked about points per game here, that's the caveat. When he came back last year, and first half of the season, he was wide receiver 2 in points in PPR. Igbuka, I think, is a superstar in the making. And I believe it. AI didn't talk about that. It talked about the running game. Bucky Irving will finish as the overall RB1 in fantasy football. No, it will be CMC. I've talked about it already. Sorry, AI, you're wrong. No, they might be right anyway. Vegas has them at 9.5. I've got them at 11. I think they'll pick up a lot of wins in a weaker division. And talking about weaker division, let's talk about the weakest of the week. We're talking about the Saints here, who I think are going to be one of 3 teams right at the very bottom of the NFL and vying for that number 1 pick next year. My take, Kendre Miller will be a top 36 running back purely because Alvin Kamara makes a business decision based on his health. If you were playing for a rubbish side, would you not do the same? Kendre Miller has played himself into relevance over the preseason. I think he plays himself into relevance because they have no one else, and Kamara is getting old and does not want to take that much damage on that much volume. AI kind of misses a fantasy take, but the take in general, the Saints will finish with the worst record in the NFL. Potentially aligned, I think it's bottom 3, but yeah, I agree. Vegas has a win total at 4.5. I've got it at 3. I've basically got them losing a lot and getting a couple of wins in garbage time, but a bottom 3 team. Not even, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. The OC from the Cowboys, who's now the head coach. It will come back to me later. But either way, I like him a lot. Kellen Moore. There we go. Kellen Moore. I like him a lot, but I just think this is a poison chalice. They need to get out of so many contracts and reinvest in their players and reinvest in their team in the draft as well. And I'll do that with a number 1 pick next year. The fact that you're starting Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck this year, yeah, it's not the game. The Falcons, I think, will have a more rosy upside. My belief, Darnell Mooney will have more receptions than Drake London. Drake London's going to be great. He's going to be the top scorer, but Darnell Mooney will have more receptions. I think he's the outlet ball. And Penix, who's a kind of rookie and a half, he needs that. AI thinks that targets will also be funneled away from another player. Kyle Pitts Sr. will be traded mid-season after years of underperformance. That sounds like a Reddit post to me, or a Twitter hot take. No, I think he'll be relatively revived. I think the problem was not necessarily him. It was a bit of Kirk. It was a bit of everything. But yeah, no, I think he'll be revived, and I think he will be useful. They've got him at 7.5. Vegas have got him at 7.5. I've got him at 7. Disappointing results, but I expect a huge push for Penix and for the team to make him a superstar for future years. I think his composure will win them games. And yeah, they'll definitely pick off the Saints a couple of times. The Panthers are the last one. I think this is one of my surprise teams. Picked for one of the most improved. Not necessarily in, I can't remember what their record was last year, but I think I'm going to enjoy watching them. They're not a complete team yet, though, which is why Tetairoa McMillan will be Offensive Rookie of the Year with 10 plus touchdowns and 130 targets. Bad teams target good players. Tetairoa McMillan is a great player, and I think he's got everything to be the X guy. And you know what? AI believes me. Rookie Tetairoa McMillan will see 100 plus targets and become Bryce Young's go-to target. Yeah, we're aligned, we're lockstep. And I think they will surprise some teams, but they will also lose some easy games. Coaching suspect sometimes. I've got them at 6 wins. Vegas has them at 6.5. I'm banging the under there, but only just. I think they will be a surprise, fun team to watch, and very surprising and fun for fantasy as well. Right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll take a quick break in a second. That means the NFC South 11-6 for the Bucks, 7-10 for Falcons. Panthers with 6-11, and the Saints languishing behind 3-14. I've got the Bucks going into the playoffs, and the playoff picture looking like the number 1 seed being the Eagles at 13-4. Green Bay, number 2, winning their division, 13-4. LA Rams at 30, 11-6. Bucks, the aforementioned, 11-6, number 4 seed. Number 5 seed going to the Vikings at 13-4. It's going to be such a tough division. I think it will turn out to be a tough division regardless. Lions at 12-5, and the Commandos at 11-6. It's going to be really interesting. My pick for the NFC Championship. You know what? I'm going to go with the Rams. McVay's going to pull it out of the bag. We were close a couple of plays away last year. We're undersized, but we overperform. Anyway, let's take a quick break, and we're back on the other side with the AFC predictions and hot takes. Welcome back, everybody, and let's take a look at the AFC. And we are going to start off with another incredibly competitive division. We're going to look at the AFC West to start with, and we're going to start with the reigning AFC champions, runners-up of the Super Bowl, the Chiefs. I believe Kelsey will be a top 10 overall receiver, not just tight end. Yeah, I do think it's there. With Rashee Rice missing out on 6 games, the supporting cast at wide receiver not really being anything to write home about, Kelsey's just got it in the bag, hasn't he? Surely. I think he's going to get such a head start, such momentum. They're just going to play him so well. AI is a bit off, and I think their take is completely off. And see why in a second. Mahomes will struggle early without Kelsey and Rice, but still make the playoffs. I believe the second half, but Kelsey's going to be there, mate, unless you think he's going off to get married straight away. The future Mr. Swift will be there, and between him and Mahomes, he will eke out some wins, but I can't see them keeping the same pace as many other teams who are improving at a better rate. Still, expect a playoff run. They're going to do well. Vegas has them at 11.5. I've got them at 10, but I think I've got them making the playoffs. Yes, I do have them making playoffs, but that's spoiling it for now. Let's look at the other teams in the division, and we'll go with the Chargers, who just want to charge. And by that means, they normally just want to muck it up. But this time, I don't think they're going to. Amarian Hampton will have more than 40 receptions out of the backfield. That it likens to a lesser version of Eckler, but that was when they were great. They were so good for fantasy football, and they'll be so good in real football. They're going to be smash mouth football. Harbaugh will be in place. And I don't believe this take, but let's see what you think. AI believes that Jim Harbaugh will turn Justin Herbert into a top 3 MVP candidate. My opinion, they need to win 13 plus for this to happen because wins are a QB stat. They're not, but that's what they always say. He's 45 for the 100 yards. I think they're going to run the ball too much. It's not happening. But I don't think his turnover rate will come right down as well. He needs to make better decisions and beam those lasers. But the whole thing of Chargers going to charge, I think Jim Harbaugh, is it Jim or John? One of the two. Whichever Harbaugh it is, will take their Vegas win total of 9.5 and stretch it to 11. They will be very good. They will be very good. The Broncos. I think they're another good team. These good teams all around. My belief, Bo Nix will be a top 8 fantasy performer, largely due to people underestimating his feet. His footwork is great. He's a shifty little guy. AI also like Bo Nix, but they also like Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram will bounce back and become Bo Nix' safety blanket. Bo Nix's? I don't know how you say it. I agree, but maybe it's not to the extent that most people are thinking. It's obviously taking opinion from elsewhere. He's not a red zone machine. Cortland Sutton is a red zone machine. They're going to have a running game a little bit more this year, I hope. They've got rid of the dead weight like Audric Estime. And RJ Harvey, the season is here, guys. The season is here for the 25-year-old rookie. I say that as a 36-year-old man, to come and improve their fortunes. I do see a big improvement and playoff contention in a hard-fought division. Vegas have them at 9.5. I've got them just on the over there at 10. And they'll make it. And finally, in each of these divisions with so many good players, so many good teams, one team's got to miss out. Unlike the NFC North, the AFC West has an obvious one that's going to miss out. It's going to be the Raiders. And I don't think they're going to be as good of a fancy either, because even though Geno supports some guys, he doesn't throw to the tight end. And that's why Bowers will finish outside of the top 10 at tight end. That's a really hot take, because that's not going to happen really. But he's definitely not going to live up to his billing as a top 10 wide receiver type scoring. He's an early second round pick. I just don't think it'll happen. I've been saying, you do not want him. He will kill your drafts. If you're listening to this and you haven't drafted yet, in the 2 days you've got before the season starts, don't get him. AI like Devontae Adams because he's in 3 different places on their list. And I kept this one in because I thought it's funny. And if you're listening to this on the YouTube Shorts, or you got this from the YouTube Shorts, you'll know instantly which is the hot take. But here we go. Devontae Adams will be traded before the deadline to a contender. That happened last year. No, it happened 2 years ago. And he's not the Jets anymore. And he's not the Raiders. And you know what? How far does this go back? Anyway, I didn't understand that, so I think I'll win that by default. Vegas has their win total at 6.5. I've got them at 5. They are the odd ones out in a tough division. I think this could be a wasted Genty season for you fantasy heads, which all are because you're listening to this, without a proper O-line. But I think they'll be fun to watch, and Genty will still be good. Probably be a top 8 guy, I believe. That's not a take, but you can take that to the bank. Let's look at the lineup there. The AFC West, I've got the Chargers winning it 11-6, Kansas City 10-7, Broncos 10-7, and the Raiders languishing at 5-12. Unfortunate season for Pete Carroll, who is the oldest ever teenager. Hello, fellow kids. Get the picture of what's his name? Oh, Steve Buscemi with a skateboard. He just brings that energy. I love him, but I don't think it's going to be a great season. And I think Chip Kelly's offense could falter. I think he's a bit too old school. Anyway. The Pats. Drake May will be a top 10 fantasy QB season long. I like him. That's it. I think similar to Nix, he's sneaky good on his feet. He's good. He's accurate. He's got a bit about him. I like him. And AI likes the Pats. And they like rookie Trevion Henderson. Rookie Trevion Henderson will take over the backfield by mid-season. I think it's going to be earlier. It's a bit of a low ball in my opinion, but you know what? AI's going to take some layups sometime. Vegas has them at 8.5. I have them at 6 because I think other teams around them have taken bigger steps on both sides of the ball. I do think they've improved, but I don't think Stephon Diggs was the answer. I don't necessarily think Kyle Williams was the answer, and they need to clear out some chaff, which they did not do on cut down day. They're still looking for an exit for Carl Duggar, who was, I think, a leading tackler for 2 years running. I just don't think it's going to work out for them. I think they will be good. I think they need another year to get great, though. And I just think there's so many teams that have and have tooled up for this season. It's really, really competitive. And one of those teams is the Bills. Keon Coleman will take over as wide receiver 1, but will still finish outside the top 20. That's a hot take, I think. You don't have many wide receiver 1s outside the top 20. But look back. The wide receiver 1 last year was Khalil Shakir, 32. Josh Palmer, does he have it? No. Keon Coleman, does he have it? Probably not. But I think he will be the top performer. I think he will break out because he's just pure athleticism, and he has definitely changed his character and approach to football this season. But Josh Allen isn't that guy. He's not a PPR guy. He's not PPR friendly for your guys, and he runs the ball a load as well. AI had a very different approach. They picked on the tight end, which I don't mind. I like Dalton Kincaid a lot. But I don't think they looked at the current lineups. And I asked it to take a look at it a couple of times. It just didn't quite get it right. Dalton Kincaid will lead the team in lineups. I can't even say the words properly. Dalton Kincaid will lead the team in targets, surpassing both Diggs and Davis. Of course he's going to pass Diggs and Davis. Neither of them with a team anymore. Anyway, he's not going to be the target lead, I don't think. I think I've already said Keon Coleman will be that guy. Dalton Kincaid will be a red zone target. Fantastic. But Josh Allen has the team on his back. It's so focused around him. And if he stays healthy, he needs to win it. His window's closing. They have a relatively comprehensive overall football team, but his ability will send them to the wins. And they are slightly improved on D, but Josh Allen, he needs to be the guy. 11.5 Vegas. I've got him at 13 and winning the division. But this division is one of the weirdest ones because it's got one team who can and 3 teams who probably won't. But one team who is on the cusp, maybe. The Dolphins is not one of those teams on the cusp. I see such regression. I love Mike McDaniels. I love the offense, but they are not them. They are not them. And there's some of their decisions just feel like they want to give up on this season. But I think they'll have some fancy performers. One of them being Jalen Waddle. Waddle will outperform Tyreek Hill both season long and PPG on the Dolphins. I think he'll be great. He'll be great. Absolutely fantastic. I've said that. Don't draft Tyreek Hill. Wait 5 rounds and draft Waddle. Same upside, similar player. He hasn't shown it yet, but I think he will. I think Tyreek Hill will not be on the Dolphins by the end of the year. AI took an approach to the running backs, and I just think his availability is going to be an issue. But Devon Achane will finish as a top 3 fantasy running back thanks to his receiving skills. Whatever he does, it will be thanks to his receiving skills because they're going to throw the ball a lot because they've got nothing else. And hopefully Tua's brain can stay on the field. But no, I don't think that's going to happen for Devon Achane. I think he'll be very good. I think he's a top 8 guy if he stays healthy. There's some doubts early on. If you want a handcuff, go for Ollie Gordon. But they've got their win total at 8.5. I've got it way below at 4. I just think looking at the individual matchups they've got, they do not match up well. And they need Tua to be healthy. I just think he's lost the confidence and he's lost his je ne sais quoi. And I don't think Tyreek Hill is there, so he's basically lost Tyreek Hill. No, I don't think it's... Collapse comes to mind. I don't think the Dolphins will be fantastic. Finally, the Jets. Justin Fields will surprise us all and end up inside the top 10 at QB. That's my take. I really think it will be that way. I think people underestimate how well he runs. He's going to be fantastic. If he adds 500, 600, 700 on the ground, which he can do, he could add 1,000 in that. I think we could see some old school triple option kind of running plays going on. I love the prospect of this. I think he will be great. AI likes Justin Fields as well. Justin Fields will revive his career and lead the Jets to 7+ wins. We're broadly aligned. Yeah, I like it. And I do think they will lead to more than 7 wins. I've got them at 9. 5.5 is the Vegas odds. I think stability and culture, which all is driven through Aaron Glenn, will get them to hard-fought victories. And I think the running game will be good. I think they're going to have an interesting offense in the running game. I think the triple option, speed option, college-style stuff could really work for them because they've got a good O-line as well. People forget about that. I think Jordan Mason is going to be great, but he's also a great blocker as well, not just a receiver. So there is a lot of things to talk about the Jets I really like. I love Aaron Glenn as well, so I really hope the best for him. The AFC East will be won by the Bills, who will be the eventual number 1 seed. They'll be the only guys going through the playoffs. They'll be at 13-4. Jets narrowly missing out at 9-8. 6-11 for the Pats, and 4-13. Languishing behind is the Dolphins. I hope I'm using the word languishing right, because I've used it a fair few times already. Let's go to the NFC North, which before was the most feared in all of football. Now it has Joe Flacco starting. Yes, Joe Flacco's not too bad. I get it. He's come back, but he's like 41. Oh, Christ. And that's why the Browns will suck and collectively have the most sacked team QB. Now, that's almost like sacks per game, effectively. I just don't think it'll be good. And I don't think any of the players want to play for it. They're playing for other contracts. Even Myles Garrett is played his way out of there and accepted stupid generational money to stay. That was the only thing that was going to keep him there. No one on that team believes in their own team. AI believes in them, though. AI believes in David Njoku. And Njoku will be the only consistent fantasy starter on a chaotic offense. I think that's probably right. I think Jerry Jeudy could be there, but I think it could definitely happen. And he's a top sleeper. He's that top of that second group of guys, in my opinion, at tight end now, because of Joe Flacco and because of probably what's going to be the turbulence. And we're going to see more than 3 quarterbacks, I think. I think they're going to bring someone else in, maybe a Jameis Winston to play a couple of games. We'll have to see. But 4.5 win total from Vegas. I've got my 3 there, a bottom 3 team. They ain't going anywhere fast. The Ravens are, though, mainly off the back of Lamar Jackson's probably, he's got a funky foot this year. I don't know, but he's still so fast. But Lamar Jackson will be the hot take. Maybe not a hot take now that you've heard it half already. Lamar Jackson will be the number 1 QB, 35 plus TDs and 10 on the ground, but no receiver of his will finish inside the top 15. That was the biggest compound one I could find, and this is the most obvious one. That fact that this is a human take. There's some assumed health stuff there, and I'm going to say I'm going to win this if I get 2 out of those 4 statements correct. But either way, you look at his receivers, and I say wide receivers. No, I'm going to retake that. Because Lamar Jackson will be the number 1 QB, 35 plus touchdowns and 10 on the ground, but no wide receiver will finish inside the top 15. Because he doesn't have top wide receivers. He's got top tight ends. And AI believes me as well. Mark Andrews will reclaim elite tight end status and be Lamar's top target once more. Yeah, I kind of fudged it a little bit on both the delivery and the whole term, but I think he and Likely will be favoured targets regardless. And they will be a great team. Derrick Henry's going to Derrick Henry. They've got him at 11.5. I've got them in the over on 12. High-end talent, the way they play, still super talented all-round roster at all phases. They will be great. Another team who I think will be fun to watch as well, and I think will have a bit of a resurgence, will be the Bengals. I don't think they're going to get off to a slow start. I think they're going to get up to a fast start. And Joe Burrow will end up putting the team on his back, 40-plus regular season touchdowns with 2 wide receivers on points per game. I've got to say that again. These compound ones are complicated. Joe Burrow will put the team on his back, 40-plus regular season touchdowns with 2 wide receiver ones. That's top 12 guys on PPG. Points per game. Yeah, we like that. I think I said that right the third time. But T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are going to eat. I don't believe in Chase Brown as much, but I think it's going to be great. AI doesn't quite believe in it as much, though. And Jamar Chase won't repeat as wide receiver 1, breaking a decade-long trend. Now, I hate that. Because, of course, he's not going to... The likelihood of him or 157 other wide receivers that it could be going number 1 again is so infinitesimally small. But if you took it as he won't be a wide receiver 1, it's a bit more of a bold claim, but I don't think that was AI's view. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be wide receiver 1. I think it probably could be Justin Jefferson, but I don't think it'd be far off. It's a low ball take. Anyway, Vegas have them at 9.5. I've got them at 10 on the over. Joe Burrow will get them wins, but it'll be hard fought, and they will need a late charge and a lot of luck. The Steelers, I do not see their fates as quite as good without Aaron Rodgers, and I think the cult of Aaron Rodgers will cancel out a bit of the cult of Steve Tomlin. I do not think this is a marriage made in heaven. I think it's a marriage made in the pits of hell. Aaron Rodgers will have a resurgence, and his efficiency will drive him to be a top 12 QB. I still believe in Aaron Rodgers. I still think he's good. He's not going to turn over the ball. He's not going to get negative plays, but he's not going to get as many positive plays as you think. AI are taking a view of a running game, and I like the running game there as well. I like Caleb Johnson. I've just picked up a couple of shares of him recently. But rookie Caleb Johnson will be a fancy touchdown machine in Arthur Smith's system. Arthur Smith will kill everything that is beloved and we like. He'll share too much time, unfortunately. I think he'll make him into a committee back, even though he is a true lead. And I think he'll have to do some appeasing of Rodgers as well. I have them coming in at 8 wins. Vegas has them at 8.5. Obviously, go down 500 route. That imaginative Vegas, but I've got them below 500. I think towards the end of the season, I think we're looking at the age of Rodgers, the turnover of this, and realizing they're not going to make a run, and age finally catching up for them, and Tomlin finally getting found out. I just don't think it's going to work for them. The AFC North is a tough division. I think it has 2 guys going into the playoffs. I've got the Ravens at 12-5. I've got the Bengals at 10-7. Steelers will miss out 8-9, perpetually hovering around that 500 mark, and the Browns 3 wins, 14 losses, being one of, if not the worst team in football. And finally, the worst division in football, the AFC South, isn't as bad as all that because it doesn't have the worst teams anymore. It does not have the worst teams. Let's start off with the Colts. The Colts they've always been plucky. Obviously, Jim Irsay was great. His daughters are now in control. Thanks to oh god, because of his untimely death. Maybe it wasn't untimely. He was got an old fella. But I'm not a doctor. I shouldn't comment upon that. My take, however, is purely based on fantasy football and tight ends, which are not necessarily my favourite topic, but Tyler Warren will lead yak amongst all tight ends. Now, when you're talking yak, you're talking, okay, is he going to be better than Trey McBride? Is he going to be better than George Kittle? Is he going to be better than Kelsey? Guys who sit in the zone and take it and go. I think he can be. I've seen a few snaps. I've seen some of his college tape. I love it, and I think he'll be great. AI think a different one, and they're taking a punt on a different player. Michael Pittman Jr. will outperform his wide receiver 51 ADP and reclaim wide receiver 1 status. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I don't think it'll happen. I don't see the barn for it because I think they're going to be so messed up at quarterback that, and they've got quarterbacks who like throwing to tight ends and running backs. They don't have quarterbacks who like throwing to wide receivers in open space. They've got them at 7.5 wins. I think the Daniel Jones experience will not be great. I've got them at 5 wins. They've got nothing much about them. They've got like elite players at any position apart from tight end now, I think. It's a wasted season, unfortunately, and I think we will see them reload a couple of seasons, become relevant again, or not, because they don't find the QB. The Jags, England's team, apparently, they're coming again. My Rams will be going up against them. I will be wearing my Marshall Faulk jersey. I'll be very happy to see the Rams trounce them in October. I like the Jags, but I don't like the Jags to win a lot. But I believe Travis Hunter will outperform Brian Thomas Jr. despite playing more than 25% of snaps on defense. Yeah, he's going to split some time. Not as much time. I think he's going to be more third down, but I think he'll be there. Again, I'm kind of doing the caveat that I believe he'll be in around the mix a lot. I think he will be better. I think he'll be more schooled up on both sides of the ball, and I think they're going to treat him as a feature player like he's been treated all his college career. AI like the team as well. They think that Trevor Lawrence will bounce back and finish as a top 10 QB. Yeah, I think so. Liam Cohen could do it. He rejuvenated Baker's career, but what do you think is more likely, Baker having another top season or Trevor Lawrence doing it? Does lightning strike twice? I think what he's embedded in Baker is great. Does Trevor Lawrence have it? Maybe. Generational talent, Andrew Luck level talent. But has he ever performed? No. And I think the problem is that the team improvements are not across the whole roster. There are bigger improvements in players and teams around them, not in the building. Vegas has them at 7.5. I've got them at 6. I think it'll be a fun season to watch. Be interesting to see what happens at running back. Let's see what goes. The Texans are a very interesting team because they always come into the season lacking something. Last year it was an O-line and wide receivers. This year it was a running back. But I believe Nick Chubb will be the lead back across the whole season. Joe Mixon's injury is worse than we think. I really do think that. And AI kind of believe me in a different way. Joe Mixon will disappoint in a crowded, aging backfield. Yeah, we're broadly aligned, but for different reasons. I still think Stroud will bounce back, comfortably get them into the playoffs in a weak division. I've got my 9 wins. Vegas has them at 9.5. It's slightly under, but it's a weak division. The winner's got to go through. And the Titans, finally, I like the Titans. And I love Xavier Restrepo, and he's been re-signed to the practice squad. I think he will see some game time some point this season, but hopefully I don't butcher this name, but Alik Ayamanor will be the top sleeper pick in this draft and emerge as the Titans wide receiver 1, ahead of Calvin Ridley. I think he's a good guy, and yes, he slipped to the 3rd round, I think, 3rd or 4th. They had a 2nd round draft grade on him, and you look at what he's doing in camp, he's fantastic. AIs have them really down on the Titans. Maybe that's a reflection on Twitter being down on them. But the Titans will finish last in the AFC again with QB instability continuing. No, I don't think so. The Browns will be worse. The Colts could be. The Dolphins could be. So many other teams could be. And Cam Ward is great. His supporting cast is not, and that will let him down. But he will win some games on himself. And unfortunately, they've got the worst level of complementary football with possibly the worst defense in the entire league. I've got them at 6 wins. Vegas has them at 5.5. I believe in the Cam Ward experience, and they won't make it to the playoffs. You know that's the Texans at 9 and 8. Jags and Titans at 6 and 11, missing out. Colts at 5 and 12. It is a weaker team, but the whole AFC playoff picture: Bills at number 1 seed, the Ravens number 2. With 12 and 5, Chargers number 3 winning the West 11 and 6, going up against, funny enough, this number 6 Kansas City Chiefs in the first round 10 and 7. The winners of the South 9 and 6 Texans number 4, Bengals 10 and 7 will be the 2nd team from the NFC North coming through, and finally round it out, the 3rd team from the AFC West. I've got 2 divisions taking 3 teams to the playoff. It's very much haves and have-nots. 10 and 7 Broncos. I think if I was to pick my Super Bowl or my AFC champion, I just feel that the strength of the squad is so good for the Ravens. I can't not. So I've got the Ravens going up against the Rams. I, of course, have the Rams winning the Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to be the Ravens. But, you know, if either of those happens, I'll celebrate because I love the Ravens as well, as long as it's not against the Rams. I'd like the Rams to fall out before that if they're going to. Anyway, don't want to see them lose another Super Bowl because that is a lot of time awake and a lot of heartache. Anyway, what do you think? As I said, I'm going to be producing 2 shorts or maybe 4 shorts. Maybe I'll do NFC, AFC splits, but I'll do an AI version and a me version. And you guys, if you've come from there, let me know if you got it right. I've explained it all now, what it all looks like. At the end of the season, I will take a look back through my picks. I'll be horrifically wrong. If I get even 30% of these takes and win estimates correct, it's a big margin. I'll be very happy. But because there's so much can happen in the season, and all of these are injury dependent. So it's going to be a big, big ask. But let me know what you think. What's your hot take for the season? Who do you think is going to win the division? Who do you think is going to win the conference? And who's going to be the Super Bowl winners? And who are you backing to be your number 1 sleeper? That's always going to be the ask. Who's going to win you your league? I'll be back with some fancy content later this week. I'll be doing the week 1 preview. Get your undrafted guys on your waivers, all of that fun stuff. But the season's starting really soon, guys, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this, a bit of a longer episode, like, favourite, site, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. It's amazing if you've just listened, so thank you so much. No, I'm being silly now. It's, you know what? I'm just going to peel the curtain back a little bit. When you're in a room on your own, sometimes things go a bit crazy. It's getting a bit warm in here, and I just had a mad one there. But if you like this pod, please like, share, subscribe. Follow us on socials at Rugby with Pads. If you want to support the pod, you can do so, rugbywithpads.com, for as little as £1 a month. Get yourself some cheaper merch. We'll be doing some drops in the season, so have a look there. You can also be a member, and you get access to some other things and other content early that we'll be releasing throughout the season. But thank you once again for listening. I appreciate you all, and I will see you oh so very soon on the Virtual Gridiron.